So I'm the oldest of 7, but when I was young, it was just me and my sister. We were both really little, and as little sisters often do, she made it her life's mission to annoy me. And she was really good at it too. So one day, she was just driving me nuts, and she was poking me and pulling on my hair and doing all these things that never left a mark. And I would go up to my mom and I would be like, "You have to do something with her. She's driving me crazy." And Mom was exhausted by this point. She would just look at me and be like, "Look, I don't see any blood. I don't see any bruises. Go back and play. Like, I'm not interested." And she just kept poking at me, but she never left a mark. And so in my frustration, I settled on a genius but pretty evil plan of my own. And this actually happened. I bit myself on the arm. Not enough to break the skin, but enough that there was a mark. And then I ran to my mom and I said, look, she bit me. And then Mom acted, right? Okay, well now I'm gonna separate you, now we're gonna, whatever. Now I'm gonna step in. So I got what I wanted. But that was wrong of me to do, obviously. I was telling the truth up to that point, but suddenly I was committing the sin of slander against my own sister. Now again, this is a kind of, childish move, but as we grow older into adults, this desire to slander can still be there. And Jesus talks about it today in that whole list of sins that he mentions that come from the wickedness of the human heart. He mentions the sin of slander. And slander is when we say something that is untrue about someone else in order to bring some kind of harm to them. So I had lied to my mom and said, "My sister bit me," when really, it was me, myself, trying to get her in trouble, trying to bring some kind of harm upon my sister. And again, that's a childish example, but how often are we tempted to slander people who we work with? Maybe so we can get ahead a little bit. If I tell a couple well-placed lies with the right people, I can make sure that I get ahead. What about in our relationships when we're talking with our friends about our spouse, or about children, about whoever? Maybe you don't tell an outright lie, but you exaggerate, you downplay your own weaknesses in order to make the other person look bad, in order to hurt their reputation because you're twisting the truth. All of this is slander. And Jesus says it comes out of the wickedness of the human heart. And this kind of sin is just one of the many sins that can defile us from within. And so when it comes to slander, the way that we stop slandering is, first of all, we look at something and we say, is this truthful? I want to say this thing about someone else. First thing we need to check, is it truthful? And if it's not truthful, the buck stops there. You don't get to say it. We as Christians are called to live in truth. Jesus says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." And so as followers of Jesus, we need to speak the truth. And so immediately, if you're tempted to tell something about someone else that isn't true, don't do it. Cut it off. The second thing you need to look at, okay, maybe it is true. Do I need to share this? Who am I helping by sharing this? Because sometimes it is necessary for us to talk about the faults of someone else. Sometimes it's necessary that we do that. But is it necessary to do so? Will I actually be helping someone? Will this have a positive effect? Am I still talking about the faults of someone else, but am I doing it in a charitable way, giving them, of course, the benefit of the doubt for what their motives behind what they're doing is? Okay, so if we've checked that, then we move on to the third step, which means check again. Because often we fool ourselves into thinking, no, I really do think this is going to help people to share it. If we look at it that second time, it often isn't. Often we can keep those things to ourselves and avoid slandering others. As followers of Jesus, we want to be speaking the truth, and we want to always be speaking charitably about others, giving them the benefit of the doubt, maybe realizing I don't understand everything about why this person is acting this way, but at the very least, trying as much as possible to speak positively about others and to speak truthfully in order to avoid the sin of slander.